we've had our first dance, you know, we sitting down, we eating, you know, we're a married couple at this point, you know, we feeling good, you know, just, you know, loving on each other and stuff. You know, we about to have our first dance with our moms, all that good stuff. And so from that moment on, you know, everything kind of went cool, you know, until towards the latter part of the night. You know, my best friend came up to me and told me that, you know, the wedding planner was crying. And, you know, I'm like, crying, girl, what do you mean? And she said, girl, I can't take this anymore. She was like, girl, yes, the wedding planner is crying. So, you know, well, hold on, before that, I'm so sorry, before that. So we go in and we're about to go in. So the wedding party is announced, and you know, they do their little dances and stuff. And so one of Sydney's cousins is standing outside, her and her wife, and one of my cousins, her and her husband. So, you know, Sydney's cousin right here in Atlanta, my cousin, her and her husband traveled from Houston, and they're like, hey, Snoop. And there were, I would probably say there were about eight people who fell into this category. They're like, hey, Snoop, hey, Sid, they don't have seating for us. And we like, what the fuck? What do you mean? You know, like, they don't have seating for y'all. So like, to the point that, you know, they were kind of heading on their way out. And it's like, you know, like at somebody's wedding, you really don't want to bother them. You know what I mean? But like, we couldn't help but notice them, because we're waiting on everybody to be introduced. And you know, the wedding party, they go in, they do their little dance and stuff. And then we see that they out with us. So we like, you know, hey, y'all go on in there, and you know, y'all go on and get y'all table. And like, but they ain't got no room for us. You know what I'm saying? So the only tables that had name tags was the people that was in our wedding planner, or that was in our wedding party. Now, mind you, I paid this paper, but over 10 grand that was spent, you know, in just paper products, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Say the dates, invites, and then the name cards that was supposed to be placed on the table. So we like, what? Now, mind you, you still going in trying to have a good time, but that's in the back of your head. That's in the back of Sydney's head, that her cousin and her wife then came. They ain't got nowhere to sit. It's in the back of my head, my cousin and her husband ain't got nowhere to sit. They done traveled all the way from Houston. You know what I mean? Don't even matter if the motherfuckers came from down the street in Atlanta. Why the fuck is we going through this? Like, this is amateur shit. You know what I mean? We done hire a wedding planner. We at the Four Seasons. We got the core team. All of this stuff we done went through. I just told y'all guys. We sat on the phone with the wedding planner for an hour Saturday. We could have been doing something else that damn Saturday. Sat on the phone with her for an hour going over the invite list, so that we could make sure this was the case. Like I said, for months she was saying, oh, we got to have security, you know, because, you know, people be trying to, because, you know, at first Sia was like, security, we don't need that. And she was like, yes, y'all do, you know, because people be trying to come that ain't invited and all this type of stuff, right? Then there was another couple, you know, mutual friends of ours, you know, right here in Atlanta, who didn't have nowhere to sit. And they still to this day ain't mentioned nothing to me. But now that I know what all went down, I know that, you know, they ended up having to leave after the ceremony because they ain't had nowhere to sit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how? You know, because that Friday, when I got with Four Seasons, I paid for 161 people to eat. That was the 160 people on our invite list.
So 161?
Basically, yeah.
Is that what it is?
Uh-huh. Minus the 3 kids, yeah. 161 minus 3 kids, yeah. 158 adults.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we did see probably maybe 3 people in there that was not supposed to be in there. How that happened, Lord knows. Security owe us a motherfucking discount, okay? However, there was probably 5 people that was supposed to be there who didn't come. So it all balances out. So why the fuck did these motherfuckers not have nowhere to sit? That really burned us up the most. That we had people who traveled for our wedding, planned for our wedding, took off work for our wedding, and came and did not have anywhere to sit. That was fucking ridiculous. We get back to the wedding. We've cut the cake. You know, we're having a great time. Now, Sydney has no garter, so we wasn't able to do that because, you know, the wedding planner was supposed to order that. She said it was ordered. We got back to our home the following day and it was in the mailbox, but I guess it was ordered at the very last minute. And it's just kind of like, why? As I said, we hired our wedding planner June 9th. of 2021. We got married 2/22/22, okay? 8 months, you know what I'm saying? And this video is not to point any fingers. Like, you will not hear me say anything negative about anyone. You will not hear me say, this was the wedding planner fault. This was the designer fault. I'm just saying what happened. Y'all can leave it up to yourself who fault was what in the comments, and how you would feel if this was your wedding and you had spent what we spent. Not even, and you know what? It ain't even about the money. This is about a day that can never be duplicated ever again. Okay, that's really what it's about. So anyways, we're at the reception. We have an amazing group of family and friends. So we're having an amazing time. We're having a great time. At the end of the day, we did have an amazing wedding because of not only the love that we have for each other, but the love that our family and friends have for us. So we're having a great wedding, all of this stuff. So then get back to it. So my best friend comes up to me and she's like, bitch, and y'all know I typically talk, bitch, the wedding planner is crying to me. And I'm like, girl, you're lying. You know, she's just like, girl, yeah, she is. So at that point, you know, I go up to her. I'm like, you know, hey, you know, Kenya, you know, what's going on? You know, are you okay? And she was just like, it's just so many things, you know, that happened wrong with this wedding. And it's a lot of vendors that I'm going to be done with after this. And, you know, I just really didn't know what to say at that point because, you know, I can't give in to what's going on because, you know, I'm not supposed to be crying at the end of my wedding. You know what I mean? So I can't sit up there and cry with you and give in to this and all of this. You know what I'm saying? So I don't remember what I said to Kenya, you know, but I kind of just stepped away and let that be that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, reception goes on, reception over with. We get in our car, we head on. Our wedding planner contacts us and she said, hey, you know, I really want to meet with you guys. So, you know, we ended up going on our honeymoon 2 days after the wedding. She said, you know, hey, I really want to meet with you guys because, you know, it was just a lot of fucked up shit that happened, you know, from you all wedding. And I'm really disappointed in a lot of things. I'm disappointed in a lot of stuff that's been said. And, you know, we just really need to sit down and talk. You know, for us, we were very upset. You know what I mean? You get to the point where, you know, you got people who have traveled out of town, spent money and all this to be at your wedding. They don't even have anywhere to sit. I got to run the calculations. I ended up spending, y'all, $209,000 on my motherfucking wedding when I said I wanted the budget to be $100,000 to $125,000. Now, just imagine if I'm just a regular motherfucker out here and you done said, hey, my budget is $100,000. And then they come up with that. And you can't even afford to pay the shit. Because a lot of people would not have been afford. A lot of motherfuckers don't even make $209,000 a year. Okay? We're on our honeymoon. And just a lot of our friends and family, you know, they're just like, oh my God, you know, we want y'all to enjoy y'all honeymoon, but you know, we got to talk like when y'all get back. And so everybody, the general consensus was yes, y'all had an amazing wedding. The love that was shared, the vows, the this, the that. But you know, they knew the amount that was spent. And then, you know, they were just kind of like, oh my God, this wedding planner, you know, we couldn't find her, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so, you know, she hits us up. And, you know, she says, hey, you know, I want to talk to y'all, you know, when y'all get back, you know, da, 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 da. And so we say, hey, yeah, we want to talk to you too. So we set up a meeting. We had went to a few different locations for our honeymoon. So it ended up being probably about 9 days before we were available to speak to her. In the meantime, I'm still having more charges put on my credit card, right, that I'm noticing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, dance floor this, you know, drapes this, you know, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? So I'm calculating up. I'm like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? This is not what I expected to spend on this wedding. And then for the fact that balls were dropped on in various aspects, hell yeah, we need to sit down and talk. Anyways, we get back and she comes to our home and speaks to us, and she tells us, you know, she's just like, you know, oh my God, you know, we had planned this wedding to a T. For everything to turn out the way it did. You know, I'm so done with these vendors. You know, she says that, you know, she's possibly going to be suing people that were associated with the wedding. She encourages me to sue people that were associated with the wedding. And, you know, she starts with the designer for one, and saying that, you know, he was the one who was supposed to be booking the guy who laid down the carpet. And that, you know, a couple days prior to the wedding, that he contacts her and tells her that the carpet guy has COVID and he's not going to be able to make it. And so she says at that point, you know, she kind of had to start scrambling and looking for other people. And that, you know, that kind of created a snowball effect. Now, if you understand how events go and weddings go, like I was telling y'all when we had this wedding at this Four Seasons, you got to create this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? The only reason to ever have your wedding at the Four Seasons or St. Regis is because you're trying to be big money this, big money that. Now, yes, they're going to give you great service and good food, but they're not going to have shit as far as decor. You got to create all this shit your damn self. So you're going to end up really spending more money, okay? So we put down like all that white y'all saw. That's not what that shit look like. You know what I mean? That shit, Mo gonna throw it on the thing of what that shit look like. That ain't what it look like, okay? So anyway, she says that, you know, the carpet guy, she says that Akeem told her that the carpet guy had COVID. You know, he wasn't gonna be available. So she said at this point, you know, she was in tears. She was stressed out. She got on her knees. She started praying. She ended up going on Craigslist, found an old man to drive all the way to Calhoun, Georgia. Now, I know where, I live in Georgia. I know where, that shit 2 hours away. Went to go get the carpet, bring it back. She said he brought it back. The carpet was too short. She said that the king didn't measure the area enough. So then the carpet was too short. So then that left him on the end. And then everything was just kind of snowball effect as far as timing and all those different things, right? So, you know, she was just telling us about different things that she felt like in her mind, why this wasn't a perfect execution. You know what I'm saying? Because she just like, you know, she was saying everybody in the industry knew how important this wedding was to her. This was a big wedding to her. And she felt like kind of, you know, a few people in the industry hated on her or whatever the case may be. She was also saying how the designer had another wedding to do for the Brad and Judy, who also got married the same day. So the Brad and Judy decided to plan their wedding 9 days before we had. We planned ours 9 months. I want to talk to you really quick about how it is that you can make money with your salon suites. And one of the most important things is to make sure that you have a good architect and a good contractor, because it's really important to make sure that your suites are divided out in a way where you can, number one, get as many suites as possible. I've helped so many different people open up their salon suites, and when they first get going, they've got a lot of unoccupied space. It's like, look, you don't need a break room. These are tenants. They're coming in, doing what they got to do, and then they're going home. So you want to make sure that you use as much of your real estate as possible and break that down into suites. And one of the things that we offer as a bonus with our Salon Suite Master Course is a list of the size and the prices of our salon suites. So we make it completely easy for you. So go ahead and head on over to salonsuitemastercourse.com. Make sure you sign up for that course and get the bonuses included as well. She tells us that Akeem was also booked for their wedding, and that Akeem gave our carpet layout person to Debrat and Judy and told her that he had COVID, and sends our carpet person over there. So then she tells her that was the reason for the snowball effect. And, you know, she was just like, you know, he had told her that he wasn't going to have the mirrors. And she said, okay, well, if you're not going to have the mirrors, well, then you need to do 4 of these big floral designs. You know, you still need to have a wow effect. You know how Snoop is. She going to want to see a wow effect, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And none of that occurred. Didn't get no wow effect. Didn't have no mirrors. Didn't have no booth. So, you know, she was just like, you know, she would possibly be taking legal action after some people. She encouraged me to do so. She felt like the designer owed me about 10 grand for what I got versus what I paid for. So then, you know, we asked about, okay, well, you know, why was it that some of our people weren't able to sit down? So hold on, not only was some of our people able to sit down, but one of our really good friends, 2 of them were already sitting down, okay? They get up, go to the bar and get drinks. Another 2 sets of our really good friends take their place. They don't notice somebody is sitting there. They just don't have nowhere else to sit. So it was about 8 to 10 motherfuckers who didn't not, maybe even more than that, because Sydney niece was sitting next to my mama the whole time, and she never even had a plate to eat the whole goddamn night. I spent $61,000 on food for people, okay? So anyways, They come and they sit down in the place of these two individuals, and not their fault at all. They're just looking for a place to sit. They see two open seats. You know what I'm saying? They come sit down. Now the wedding planner is coming up to me when I'm trying to be in the bliss of my mare. It's like, Snoop, I'm gonna have to put people out. There's people in here that ain't supposed to be. Hey, not my problem. We have a guest list. You claim to have security. I don't have shit to do with that. Whoever you think need to be put out that's not on that list, put them out. Well, she goes and puts out two people that was on the list. Two of my really, really good friends, to the point they're crying, y'all. They crying at my motherfucking wedding. And like, I didn't see them crying, but I seen the situation transpire. Because it was literally like kind of like right to the right of us. So me and Sydney is sitting on this stage. The situation is kind of happening. So she comes up to me while I'm trying to be happy with my new wife and tells me that she about to start putting people out of my wedding because they're not supposed to be in there. Well, unfortunately, she went to people that were supposed to be in there. And so like I said, they got up, they went to the bar to get them some drinks. Two of our other really close friends sit down in their seats. Not their fault. They just looking for seats to sit the fuck down because there's nowhere for them to sit. So they sit down. The other two friends come back. They're like, hey, you know, y'all in my seats. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, we thought these were open seats. Kenya comes, and so then Kenya takes them to each table. Hey, can they sit here? Can they sit here? And to the point they're kind of embarrassed, like, damn, she just pawning us off. And you know, they end up leaving. Mind you, these are close, very close friends of ours. So like I said, anywhere from, I said 8 to 10, I would say it was probably about 14 people who came to our wedding that were not able to sit down. When I go back and look at it, I paid an invoice of $67.09 to iCore, to Iconic, I think it was Iconic. Mo gonna post the shit on the thing. Iconic Decor Rentals for tables and chairs. They brought out mismatched tables and chairs. We're gonna post the photos. Then she told me I was paying an extra $5,000 to Akeem for tables and chairs. So if $11,000 was paid on tables and chairs, my mama said she almost fell and broke her hip out of her seat because the chair was so bad. But all of our people didn't have anywhere to sit. We go through. That's the wedding. We have a great night, whoop-de-whoop. Like I said, we get back, she's having this conversation with us, and so she's telling us all of the things that she felt like, you know, went wrong, you know, at the wedding, and whose fault they were, and who did what, and all of this different things. And so, you know, when it gets to the point about, you know, because she brought it up herself about how people were not able to sit down. And so she said that Mark was the guy that we dealt with at the Four Seasons. I guess he's over like their banquets and special events and things of that nature. So she said that Mark was so into the celebrities that were in the Four Seasons that day, because the Brad and Judy, now they didn't get married at the Four Seasons. They didn't spend out one goddamn dime with the Four Seasons other than their hotel room. Like I said, I spent 61 plus. When it come to me and Sydney hotel rooms and all that shit, I probably spent about $65,000 directly to the Four Seasons. They got hotel rooms, you know what I mean? And this is not to put anybody down. Once again, I'm not trying to put the wedding planner down. I'm not trying to put the decor person down. The Brett and Judy, they just got married on the same day that we did. And some things conflicted with, you know, motherfuckers who don't have, you know, the right type of integrity. You know what I'm saying? No shade to nobody involved. Y'all can decide, you know what I mean? The only people that was shaded was me and my motherfucking wife. You know what I'm saying? And it's somebody's fault. It wasn't ours. I paid every goddamn invoice that was sent to me. So, anyways, you know, she was saying that the reason why some of our people couldn't sit down and why security couldn't do their job. Now, she did say that she'd been using this security company for years, but they sent some new people, and that the Brad decided she wanted to take some pictures in her wedding dress on the steps before they went to the wedding venue that they really paid to get married at. So they wanted to take some photos on the steps, and she said that Mark ushered everybody upstairs and made them flood all the way upstairs, and it caused the security to have a big flush, and they got flustered and just decided to let anybody in, Snoop and Sydney wedding, who wanted to come. And so that's why 12 of our people, you know, couldn't sit down, you know, they needed to have seats. So that's that was what happened there. But anyway, so you know, she was just telling us all this stuff, and then, you know, she said that you know, before So she said the day of the wedding, you know, before Akeem was set up anything. Now I think Akeem people had been there the night before setting up stuff, so I don't know how that went. But she said that, you know, the day of the wedding, that before Akeem was set up, that he told her he needed $8,000. So I had ended up paying him $35, you know, which is what she told me that what was due. Now, mind you, this is a broke down invoice, so I don't really have like an exact invoice, because, you know, the invoice, like I was telling y'all, started at like, I think 70 or 65 or 70. And then I never told her that it was too much. She told me it was too much and said, hey, we gonna do da-da-da-da-da. I'm gonna talk to him. We gonna get this broke down. You know, we gonna do the stage. This person gonna do the stage. This person gonna do the drape. So I'm still thinking I'm still getting this huge grand wedding, because I'm still paying 65 in decor. I'm just not paying it all to the king. You know what I mean? I'm paying such and such the drapes, such and such the stage, etc. Right? So she says that he got the 35, but then he said, you know, he tells her, nah, I need $8,000 more, or I'm not setting up shit, is what she says. And so, you know, when she came over, she was just like, you know, that motherfucker made me pay him $8,000. And so she showed us, you know, on her phone, where she didn't pay $8,000, where it looked like, you know, out of her own money. So, you know, at this point, you know, just having a heart, you know, me and my wife, you know, we like, damn, okay, this bitch didn't pay $8,000 to our wedding. You know what I mean? Like, she ain't even getting married. So at that point, we're just kind of like, you know, kind of feeling sorry for her. You know what I mean? It's just like, we don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? At this point, we just know, like, you know, she's at our home, she's crying, she's telling us she done had to go to the ER. She was so stressed out after the fact, you know, from this wedding. Not to call her a bitch, that's just how I talk. Like I said, I'm not trying to put down nobody, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, she's like telling us, you know what I mean, that, you know, she done put $8,000 on the top, and, you know, she's showing it to us from her Cash App too. I know the name of the man events, you know what I'm saying, of his company. So we just kind of like, dang, that's messed up. You know what I mean? That this woman had to put $8,000 on our shit. Then, you know, there were like a few more plates that the Four Seasons was charging for, because some people got into our wedding that was not supposed to be there. And so then they were trying to charge me maybe like an extra like $3,000, or it was $5,000. I'm sorry, an extra $5,000. And she said that she paid that as well. So at the end, we like, dang, like she was paid $20,500 and she done put up $13,000 to our wedding. Like, wow, that's crazy. Like, and so at the end of the day, I'm like, man, like she was so stressed out with the carpet situation. They ended up snowballing. She ended up telling us that the valet, that the sand, and all of these other type of things, because I had also told her like the liquor package we got, I was like, nah, me and Sid, we gonna need some Don Julio, some Casamigos or something. Then mind you, I had to pay for Case to have a hotel room, because I only wanted Case to sing my wife down the aisle, and he was supposed to sing Touch Me, Tease Me at my reception. Well, the reception started some motherfucking late. I paid for a hotel room for Case for no reason. He ends up dipping and leaving. No fault to him. Like, who thinks you're gonna be there for 4 hours waiting around on a reception to start? You know what I'm saying? So that was money that was paid to him. I probably could have paid the bull like $4,000 just to sing one song. I done paid him $6,500 because he's supposed to sing 2, but it's taken so long, and he doesn't have his bottle of alcohol that he was supposed to have in his room, that he ends up dipping out. You know what I'm saying? So she said that, you know, the reason why we couldn't have our unity ceremony was because of those things, that the valet took her mama keys home. Everything was in her mama truck. And that's why we didn't have our unity ceremony. We didn't have our guest book, you know, little different things that like we'll always look back on and you know what I mean, kind of miss, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, we felt bad for her, you know, at the end of the day, and you know, that was kind of that. A couple days later, I hop on Instagram. I done had a few drinks. I'm having a bad day, and you know, I'm like, hey, am I wearing a recap, man? You know, I gotta get some things straight with Akeem Clayton, because, you know, I booked you first to do my wedding. They come up 9 days and you just kind of ditch us, you know what I mean? You give our carpet person to someone else, you know what I'm saying? Just because of, I don't know, like neither one are on like and we ain't gonna do that, you know what I'm saying? We ain't even gonna do that. There's no need to put anybody down, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, damn, you know, that's how we doing. And so, you know, I had a few things to say on Instagram. He also just kind of like had never posted like our wedding pictures and all that. I'm like, damn, you ain't proud of your work. You know what I'm saying? Like, was of course posting theirs. You know, the Brad and Judy TV paid for their wedding. I don't know if they would have had a $200,000 wedding if, you know, there wasn't sponsorships and da-da-da-da. Like, this is all my own hard-earned motherfucking money. You know what I'm saying? He reaches out to me and he says, hey, Snoop, we need to talk. Okay? So him and we talked the next day, and he said, you know, I don't know what you were told, but I never was supposed to book your carpet person. And so he had screenshots of text messages, you know, that he sent to me between him and our wedding planner, while our wedding planner was telling him that the carpet person canceled on her and she was asking him to help out. He said, I never was supposed to book, you know, your carpet person. You know, I really wasn't. And he said, you know, I'm gonna tell you something, Snoop. Throughout this whole thing, number one, I was so proud and happy to be doing your wedding because of the businesswoman that you are and what you are known for in the city. And he said, honestly, I was a little surprised as to who you had picked to be your wedding planner, because I know that you're a very well-respected businesswoman. You know, it just kind of surprised me. You know, so he said, you know, throughout this thing, I really wanted to talk to you directly. You know, your wedding planner had always said that, you know, everything was going to go through her, and that was it. You know what I mean? But number one, I never was supposed to book your carpet person. So that story is a lie. He said, number two, I don't know why your wedding started so late. We were ready. We were set up. He said the carpet people definitely did put a delay when her carpet person canceled on her. There was definitely a delay. He said, but we made up time. He said at 4:15 we were ready. He said, but nobody could find Kenya. He said Kenya never showed up into your wedding until 30 minutes before your wedding. He said Kenya didn't show up until 3:30 p.m. And I had never experienced that with another wedding planner. He was like, you know, I have no idea why you and Sydney had to get married so late, but we were there. He said, you know, he said there were so many vendors that were not being paid. He said, you know, there was all the talk was about, you know, I haven't been paid. I haven't been paid. He said, you know, the drapes person, while y'all were getting married, the drapes person was on the other side, because so we did a room flip. So that means we only used a certain part of the room, and then the other parts were blocked off, and they were setting up in the other parts, right? And so, see, a lot of motherfuckers ain't gonna tell y'all this shit, because it's like, everybody's like, oh my God, y'all had an amazing wedding. Yes, we did. But, you know what I mean? I don't want nobody else to have to go through this shit, because it's not fair what we went. It should have been an amazing wedding, true and true, behind the scenes and on the front of the motherfucking scenes. You know what I mean? For what I paid, I should have been waking up, paying invoices, being stressed out the day of my motherfucking wedding. I do that every fucking day in my life. You know what I'm saying? 1 second, y'all. So he said, you know, Soup, I have no idea why y'all got married so late, other than the fact that, you know, we just couldn't find Kenya. And a lot of the stuff that was said, I'm not going to put out there. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the things are like speculative information and just things that people feel about different people. I'm only putting out the facts of what happened at my wedding and what I was disappointed about and what we enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? Then it was also said, you know, our wedding planner was telling us that Akeem was banned from the Four Seasons. He told us she was banned from the Four Seasons and all of that. And so then that just was starting to bring up other red flags and alarming information, you know. But for him, you know, he just said, you know, look, Snoop, I'm gonna tell you something. At the end of the day, I was very happy to be doing you and Sydney's wedding. You know, I know the type of reputation that you have as a businesswoman. You know, for me, he said I could have had 13 weddings, but I don't care who they would have been for. You hired me first, and I was at your wedding, which he was. He was at our wedding all day long. If you look at the video of Sydney coming down the aisle, he's holding Sydney's dress back there. So that's him, right? And he said, you know, he said when Kenya started chopping down your invoice, that was when I wanted to talk to you, because I said, you know, hey, you know, I know that Snoop wants this grand wedding, and I can't do that for the price that you're trying to make me do that for, and I really need to talk to Snoop. And, you know, for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying, you know, he wasn't put in contact with me. And, you know, I told him, I said, you know, I really wish you would have been put in contact with me. And I also apologized to him when I spoke to him on the phone. And that's why a lot of times in business, you know, you really have to wait to speak on things until you not only have the full story, but you've talked to all of the people involved. And like I said, you know, I apologize to Akeem Clayton when we actually had our conversation to review this, because, you know, you really need to talk to all parties involved before you make a public statement. And I didn't do that. And that's something, you know, I'm always a big enough person to be able to apologize to somebody, because I'm always trying to be a bigger and better person at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And, you know, I definitely apologize to him and his business for anything that I said, you know, on my Instagram that affected his business before I was able to talk to him and get the full retroscope of what happened. But, you know, my wedding planner was who we trusted, you know what I mean? That was who we worked with for, like I said, 9 months. So when she came over to our house teary-eyed and was telling us all this stuff, I had no reason not to trust what she was telling us. But then, you know, when we spoke to him a couple of days later and he backed it up with receipts, and then we also spoke with Mark at the Four Seasons. And, you know, Mark was just telling us, you know, he said, you know, Snoop, I'm going to let you know. He said, you know, behind the scenes, your wedding was a royal shit show. I like the fact that he used royal because it was still over $200,000 spent. But he said, you know, I don't know how many weddings, you know, your wedding planner has done before, but I can only account for this one. And he said, you know, it made it very hard for me to do my job the day of your wedding. It really did. And he said, you know, that ballet story is fabricated. He said, you know, there was a $5,000 balance for, you know, individuals, I guess, that was not supposed to be there. I don't know. He said, you know, you and I had got the guest list down. You paid for 161 people. You paid the remaining balance that Friday. You know, after that, he said, you know, I don't know what happened, but, you know, Kenya told me the day after the wedding, she said, I'm going to take care of it. And he said, you know, I kept calling her. I kept texting her. I couldn't, and I was telling her, I said, hey, you know, Kenya, my job is on the line. You know what I mean? I have to have this balance taken care of. And he said, Snoop, I just went ahead and took care of it. You don't owe me anything with as much as you spent already. You know, I just went ahead and took care of it. But, you know, I just definitely don't want to do business with her anymore. It was just absolutely crazy. You know, like people that were not able to be seated. He said, I've never seen a wedding be put on that way. Yeah, y'all, that's my recap. You know what I mean? Crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, you know, the people close to me, they're like, you know, oh man, you need to sue somebody, you know, pain and suffering, you know, this, that, and the third. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Y'all to let me know in the comments who fault y'all think some of this shit was. You know, we got family members who travel. We got family members who was here locally. Family members and friends who spend money on outfits and different things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? You imagine showing up to a wedding that you're invited to, you've selected your meal, you get there, you can't get what you were supposed to get. You know what I'm saying? You know, I spent $209,000 for this wedding. You know, you would have thought that, and it was a wedding for 161 people. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't like a 200, 250 guest count wedding. You know what I'm saying? You would have thought that this would have been a perfect execution. And it wasn't, and I don't know why it wasn't. Like I said, you know, my advice to people going forward, pick your wedding planner carefully. Be involved in every aspect, man. Even when they book other people and bring them in, you know what I'm saying? Talk to them motherfuckers as well. You know, it's stressful planning a wedding. It really and truly is. I don't see how people have, you know, a lot of people don't have these big grand weddings, but the ones that do, I don't see how you have more than one of them, because it's a lot. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work. It's a lot that goes into it. And at the end of the day, we trusted a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, that let us down. But on a lighter note and on a happier note, you know, we are so happy to be married. We are happy to have had the opportunity to bring both of our families together, to have moments, you know, that moment of my mama walking me down the aisle, you know what I'm saying? A lot of other moments we had with our rehearsal dinner and our welcome party, you know, those are our moments that can never be recreated. You know, I'm an emotional person, and so, like, you know, I've definitely felt some type of way. It's just like, you know, like the pain and suffering, you know, that was brought upon by the lack of, you know, even talking to like other wedding planners after, they're like, wow, damn, you paid $20,500. Man, I do not charge that much. And these are like the top tier. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, wow, Snoop, yeah, that's I need to up my prices. I didn't know that that's what some of these other wedding planners be charging, and it's just it's very unfortunate at the end of the day, because everything should have been executed flawlessly. Just not even having a guest book. You know what I mean, from our wedding. We don't have that. That top layer of the cake. It's supposed to be saved and frozen for us to bring out on our 1 year anniversary. We don't have that. We paid $5,000 for our cake. $5,000 for a statue, because that was cardboard. You know what I'm saying? The cake everybody ate was sheet cake from the back, you know what I mean? And we didn't even get, I guess because the wedding planner was so broke down and stuff like that, we ended up having to come back from our honeymoon and mail our marriage license application to the officiant, because at the time we still aren't truly legally married. You know what I mean? We don't know if she got it back into them, or when we can go pick the motherfucker up. You know what I'm saying? So I just, I had to film this. Man, motherfuckers get married every day, every week. Whether you spending $200,000, $100,000, $50,000, $300,000, $500,000, whatever you spending, you know what I mean? You want that job done right. And with mine, I ain't putting no blame on nobody. This ain't nothing where I'm, personally attacking nobody. Like I said, I do want to give a personal apology to a king, because I did get a little alcohol in my system and went off on him without getting the full story. And after I did get the full story, I definitely felt differently. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know in the comments what we should do, all right? Appreciate y'all. As always, y'all holla at me next time.